I'd now like to introduce Andy Levine from the American Seed Trade Association to provide a seed industry perspective. Andy?
Thanks, Jay. Good morning, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to partner with CropLife America and CropLife Foundation on this report that's coming out with respect to seed treatment and the benefits to the agriculture industry. A little bit on the American Seed Trade Association. As Jay said, this year we celebrated our 130th anniversary as an association. We represent all producers of seed, anything that's planted by seed, from alfalfa to zucchini. And so this issue is very near and dear to our hearts as we look at the evolution of the technology. Seed breeding has changed quite dramatically over the last 20 years in the ability to identify favorable or unfavorable traits, identify color in flowers or vegetables, identify stand and sturdiness in corn and soybean plants and cotton plants. And that ability to identify those specific traits enables a seed company to enhance them or to, what we say, turn down the specific traits to benefit the farmer with the seed that's produced at the end. And so the seed companies have made dramatic investments in order to improve those varieties, and technology or technological advances over the last 15 years have really expedited that ability or capability of the companies. Seed treatment comes along, or seed treatments and seed coatings come along and really protect that seed as it's put into the ground for the farmer. And that's a huge benefit as we look at what the products are going forward. And you think about it, as Jay said, it's a precise application put on the product as it's put into the ground. And so what we look at it is really three huge benefits that are identified in this report for the seed industry, ultimately for America's farmers as they go forward. You have that targeted, precise application on the seed. You're reducing that need for possibly a pre-plant in-furrow application or a broadcast application pre-plant to the field. Secondly, you look at the ability to protect the seed in the area immediately around it. As that seed begins to develop its root system and its root ball, as it begins to develop that early growth, you've got that protection from any soil-borne pests or diseases that may be there. And then, again, as I mentioned, it reduces that need for that in-furrow or that broadcast application prior to planting of the seed, ensuring that strong stand. And any of you that have been across the Midwest or out west or south in Florida and looking at vegetable plants, you have that ability to have consistent size of seed, helps in that planting process. You have that plant in exactly the same place the right place that you need it, in very uniform stand to maximize the yield potential of that crop. Along with that, as you come through the usage of it and the continued adoption of the seed treatment, we need to make sure as an industry that we enhance our stewardship practices. Again, working very closely with CropLife America, the grower organizations, Ag Retailers Association, working very hard to ensure that the stewardship and understanding of the use of seed treatment is there. We don't want to have any adverse impact on the environment, pollinators, or any other species as we go forward. So what we look at it is that it's just vital that we continue to store the product. And lastly, what we look at is the technology continues to change dramatically. It's much like the breeding techniques. We have new coating methods that will encapsulate the seed better to ensure that you don't have any unnecessary dust off. You look at the ability to also include micronutrients. So as that plant is growing its root system, it's also being able to be fed from the coating around the seed. Certain microbial products that are now being put on the seeds that are more beneficial in that soil to enhance that growth. So there are a lot of things that we'll continue to see going forward that enable America's farmers to ensure that they'll get a good stand and look at that almost 100% growth of every seed that they plant across the field. So we're excited about it. I do want to stress that this is used in every seed type across the country. If you think of the size of some of the seeds that are out there, whether they're lettuce seeds or grass seeds, they're very minute. But if that farmer wants to have an exact planting, we need to bulk them up. We need to put a seed treatment on them. we may need to put a micronutrient on it, and then you get it in the exact spot every place in that furrow as they go forward. So we're excited about this report. It helps put that perspective in the importance of seed treatment and that precise application as we go forward. And we look forward to any questions that you all may have today. Thank you.
So it was just a week ago yesterday that we Americans celebrated Thanksgiving on the continent. And I hope you all remembered to keep farmers in your list of things to be thankful for, because if it wasn't for the very small number of hardworking farmers here in the United States, we'd all be very, very hungry. In fact, we'd starve to death. So it's my true pleasure to welcome Tim Burrick, a working farmer from northeast Iowa, farms several thousand acres, produces thousands and thousands of head of pork every year, and is one of those individuals who understands the responsible use of technology and stewardship. Tim, welcome.
Thank you, Jay. And Andy did a nice job, too, of explaining. This is an opportunity for me. I thank you for the invitation to come in and talk about basically my life. I've planted 40 years. This coming year, I'll be my 41st year of planting. Yesterday, I was at the Farm Journal Forum, and Chief Bruce Knight, formerly of the NRCS, said, farmers get 40 chances. It's been bothering me ever since. So I don't know what that means. He was right about you get one chance a year. And so as a result, I'm going to talk a little bit about the economics of why seed treatments are so important. But, you know, the technology change that these two have talked about is remarkable. And we're talking about seed treatments. I started, there really wasn't any. And then we went to applying it ourselves, and I took a wooden stick and dumped it in the planter box and then stirred it. That's how we applied seed treatment. And do you think it was smooth, or do you think it was even? And now I wonder, did it work? But today I know it works. So let's talk about that. These seed treatments, the technology has been fantastic. You know, they're used to protect the seed from disease. You know, it's too cold, too wet, too many bugs. In 1989, I planted soybeans 3 times between the 1st of May and the 1st of July, just because it was wet and the disease took them out. And today I don't operate like that. The seed treatments have been fantastic. So let's talk about corn first. There's 80,000 units of seeds in a unit of corn. That unit of corn cost me about $300. On a per acre basis, I'm going to spend $125 to plant corn. Now I've got a major investment. For the coming year, I'll invest about $200,000 in seed. But the seed treatment that's on that corn, you know, seed corn maggots, wireworms are just waiting there. They're in the ground. They're saying, can you hurry up and plant? We're getting hungry. And so when this seed corn comes in, it's already treated. It's in the, you know, I handle it in bulk. Put it in the planter, and away we go, and it's been of great benefit. And the research indicates that I'm getting about 6 bushel an acre yield increase just due to seed treatments. Times 5, well, that's $30 an acre. And then you've got the diseases, Fusarium, Pythium, that are just laying there too, just waiting for it to be a little wet and a little cold. And believe me, warm and dry in the spring is the greatest thing a farmer could ever want. But wet and cold, which is what I just experienced in 2013, which was the toughest year for me in 40 years. And I'll talk about that at the end. But that wet and cold is just so negative to a seed, and the seed coatings are fantastic. On soybeans, even more potential disease problems. There's 144,000 seeds in a unit of soybeans. That unit of seed cost me roughly $43. Now we'll treat that seed with biologicals, with the products that they've talked about here this morning. It'll cost me $13 an acre. My return is 4 bushel an acre. Times 12, that's $48. So not only do I get a return on my investment about 3 to 4 times, but it's the seed protection. It's the fact that I don't have to go in and replant, which always, not only does it cost you money, tremendous amounts of money, but the crop will never yield as much the later you plant, the poorer the yield. So I am getting the benefits back on that. So I'm going to be brief. My summary is I can plant earlier. Cold and wet soils, I'm protected. I get higher yields. By planting earlier in the spring, I have drier corn in the fall. This fall, my LP gas bill is going to be about $75,000 because of the late planting and the wet corn. I don't have to broadcast pesticides anymore. I used to do that, dump the pesticides in the sprayer and go out and spray. Seed treatments have changed my management practices. The biologicals, these guys talked about the biologicals. Tremendous technology coming there. We're finding that we can find these bacterias, we can add them to the coatings, and already it's 3 bushel an acre. Yesterday at the Farm Journal Forum, one of the individuals got up and talked about. He said, we've discovered not only in the soil are there bacteria that are beneficial, but we as people are covered with bacteria, both on the outside and on the inside. And I never had it put to me like that. And as he said, bacteria is we are us. So I thought that was interesting. So the technology continues to improve us. It evolves. I've gone from none to manual to the progress we've got today, and it's fantastic. My yields improve. My management, I worry about different things today. I still worry, but it's totally changed how things evolve. I was asked a question, Gene asked a question about adopting new technology. There's going to be new methods of seed treatment, new treatments coming. And she said, well, how will farmers adopt that? And I said, if it goes through number one, it's got to be plantable. When I say be plantable, it can't cause, we got these little meters that meter out this seed in the planter, and they really work well. But if that seed is sticky or something like that and it messes us up, then it's not adaptable. But if it plants accurate, because we're looking for those picket fence stands, they said one plant out of 1,000 that doesn't come up is 0.8 of a bushel per acre. So we've got to have those stands, and that's extremely valuable. But if that technology works, we adopt, because if it's good, if it's economically friendly for us, and if it's friendly for the environment, farmers love to adopt the technology. But once again, it's got to be sustainable economically. At $7 corn, it's one thing. At $4 corn, it may not be sustainable at all.